YouTube, welcome to the top 8 grand finale and top deck list video. By watching as long as you can, that greatly supports these videos. And with today's video, we are debuting, in addition to the top 16, the use of Mulcharmies. Is Master Duel irreparably ruined and harmed and destroyed and adios, uninstall? Or is the game still fine? Are we overreacting? You tell me, did I overreact? Are you overreacting? Did your friends overreact? Hajime.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
Begin. What did we accomplish here? We have Droplet, we have Impermanence, we have Hieratic Seal, we have Pirellia. How could Pirellia be used? We have to Imperm, we have the Droplet, and only by using those before the Hieratic Seal, we could then Hieratic Seal. And within this window, there's going to be nothing on the field as the Hieratic Seal activates engraved to summon from the deck. That's when we hit them with the Pirellia. And by hitting them with Pirellia, we're going to draw for Aluber, we're going to draw for Kit special summoning, we're going to draw for Serenir special summoning, we're going to draw for Cartesia special summoning. There's a lot of draws we could have with that Pirellia if we use it correctly, or if we're at least offered the opportunity to use it correctly. Let's find out. Allure of Darkness, Chain, branded in High Spirits. Reveal the Serenir, send the Titanclad, discard Serenir, grab a Mercurier here to banish with our Allure of Darkness. Now grab an Albaz monster from our deck. Come to me. As the Serenir also triggers to send from the deck to the grave a branded spell or trap. Retribution, great. We now have the Albion Shrouded Dragon. With the Albion Shrouded Dragon sent from the deck a branded fusion, as we now chain the branded opening to likely be discarding that Albion itself. Now we're going to discard the Golden Sword Soul instead, so we get that draw to grab an Albaz as we summon a Quem. Quem on summon going to be hit with the Impermanence. And now we got the Droplet. If we could get that Droplet used, we could then follow up with Hieratic Seal into a Pirellia play. Is there still value in this Pirellia? I believe so, especially with that normal summon being open. We're going to grab back Branded Fusion, and now this is a problem. What the heck are we doing? A lot of you will fall for this, and it's a big mistake. If a branded player sets their monster and you don't activate your Hieratic Seal, you may as well just put the Hieratic Seal in graveyard for them, as they are about to contact fuse away your card with an Abelonatus. You can't announce Abelonatus and then you respond with Hieratic Seal. I grab your card, I put it in the grave, no response. That's it. Returning back the Quem. Come forth Pydra. Now, we could put the Pydra in grave for the Lenatus if we want to, but we mostly just got rid of the Hieratic Seal. And now we're going to be summoning an Albion, sending Albaz and Lubellion. So the cope on Pirellia it's gone, but you know, this duel got messed up by us going first. Forbidden Droplet. Negate the Albion. And still, the Pirellia is going to be quite useless here. It's going to maybe draw nothing. I don't think so. As we summon Lubellion from the graveyard and activate to set up into our back row a branded loss, we're going to brand it in white, banishing Albaz and Serenir from engraved to summon our Lubellion here on summon, activate, discard, protected by the branded loss. You cannot respond to this play whatsoever in any way. Golden Sword Soul triggering to summon a Quem from the hand or engrave or Cartesia onto the field. Branded Lost searching for a card that also could be summoned off of the Golden Sword Soul potentially, as we grab a Mercurier, which will be our monster negate. There's the Quem. Perform the fusion summon into the Mirror Jade. With the Mirror Jade here, we're going to trigger the Quem, reborn the Albion, and I believe we have enough for lethal damage. And just like that, very well done. Let's hop into game number 2. Golden Sark, Gold Sark, banish from the deck, Tragedy, trigger Tragedy, search our deck for an Aluber. There is an Imperm and an Ogre that we got to deal with here. We're going to grab a branded High Spirits. With the High Spirits, we're going to get the Serenir engraved by also sending an Albion to grab an Albion Shrouded Dragon. And thanks to that, the Albion Shrouded Dragon and the Serenir combo up to grab a branded fusion. Send from the deck Branded Fusion and the Retribution. Retribution, grab back the Branded Fusion. And just like that, we are now going to be whipping out the Branded Loss into Branded Fusion. So what happened here is your imperm not being used on Aliber, because you were maybe saving it for a fusion, now can't be used. It is my mindset, unless you're holding the imperm to be used on the next turn, that if they already have branded fusion and you imperm the Aliber to waste, right, well, they would then grab the loss. If they have the loss, they're going to grab the branded fusion. You're going to lose either way if you hold on to impermanence, unless you're saving it for the very next turn, which may be the best thing to do. Now I cannot actually imperm that. It's untargetable. Uh-oh. Wait, what are we doing with this? I thought we stopped using this. Gonna grab a Mercourier, Magna Hut, banishing the Albion. Within the end of the main phase is the Mercourier now negates. Sure. It is an attack position though, triple tactics talent. What is going on? I really want to know what is going on. Am I going crazy? Am I not understanding something? Why are we making plays in the main phase? Again, right? Like, this happened again. The main phase. All right, Albion setting up the brightest blazing branded king. We're gonna grab Cartesia, then Grave back to our hand. Now, what do we have here? We have the ability to block the lightning storm. What the heck? Bro, you scouting his hand now? What the? All right, it's Chain Ogre. Cover the Grave, fingering the Ogre. We do have the brightest blazing to negate everything but our fusion also. Nicely done. And with the Albaz, we could just fuse up and maybe we're not even trying to block the lightning storm, right? We're not. Yeah, we're playing right into the lightning storm. Now making a Rinbrum in defense, triggering the loss to grab from the deck of Mercourier. We could, brightest blazing, just negate the lightning storm, which is what we're definitely gonna do here. Negate, and it's not negate the activation, thus you cannot activate another lightning storm. Perfectly done. Rinbrum does have the ability to negate an extra deck monster, then return a card, a monster back to the hand that is. We're gonna grab a Chandra from the deck, and we're gonna imperm onto the Rinbrum. See, that held onto impermanence is now going to be coming in clutch as we swing into the Aliber. Attack again, because we're counting up our attacks. We want 3 attacks, then we're good. Biden on summon, reborn from engrave, nothing because the Mercourier negates. With that negation, we now cannot go into the Transcendent Dragon. We are in big trouble as we very simply end our turn. Off the top of the deck, YOLO Allure Darkness. Nope, we're not going to do that. As we then Rinbrum directly for 2,500, we still have the Albion effect only during the opponent's turn to summon a body on both sides, which could trigger the effect of searching for a third Mercourier. There's no way to play 3. Gonna give them Serenir plus our Aliber here as we do not go into an Albaz and grab a branded opening instead. Sure, Pydra setting up the Sangan summoning on summon. With the Sangan summoning, we're going to be searching our deck for any Tenpai monster we want. Again, Roku from the deck to the hand. Now, there's a potential problem here. The Chandra is limited to 1, which does make it susceptible to a card like DD Crow. Well, what we're going to do with the Genroku is very simply just Fadra, try to reborn back the Chandra, right? Or go right into a Synchro itself, as the Genroku is a level 4 tuner when summoned from the hand. We're going to use the Rinbrum to attempt to negate. Now, how does this work with a Sangan summoning? Are we trying to have the other effect of Rinbrum to return a card back? This states negate that effect, then you can return a monster from the field to the hand. Maybe we just want to return a monster from the field back to the hand, but we can't do that unless you negate. If you don't negate, you don't then do nothing. Anything after then does not happen if before then does not happen, which it won't happen because it's unaffected by the Sangan summoning protecting it. It's not returning, can't return. We're still gonna finger the Fadra, and I think we understood that, right? We're like, oh, I negate, oh wait, Sangan mate, let me finger that instead. See, no return. Take out the Aliber in the turn. We like super win this no matter what. Let's just do this. Let's grab back that Tragedy. It's already been 2 turns. Allure Darkness, banishing that Tragedy, re-triggering the Tragedy to search our deck for a Despia Quem. With that, we have Lubellium being discarded to just end the duel in a 2-0 victory. Did I mess this up? Is it actually a 2-0? Nonstop, thank you very much. Stigmata, both of you top tier, I appreciate you. Begin. We're going to start this off with Ariane discarding a trap to summon for the deck, a Fiend monster, as the Ariana now searches for a Torby. With the Torby, we're going to discard the Woes to set up a Big Welcome Labyrinth, triggering the Woes to set itself back up on the field here. And that's it, we end. Now, what did we accomplish? These two Labyrinth girls are going to be drawing a card during the opponent's turn. If we activate the Big Welcome, then return a card back to the hand, that's going to be an easy +2. We also have the Welcome Labyrinth with a Lovely plus the Big Welcome, which will destroy a card in the hand or on the field. We also have the Woes, which could potentially set up a situation where we flip the entire opposing field face down through the effect of summoning the Silvera. Silvera is going to require the non-tuner to be the Torby, right? So we're going to have Torby plus a level 4 tuner from the deck to get flipping. We got some plays, and that's why I really like this deck a lot. We also have Transaction Rollback, which could copy any of these traps. Even if the trap's a hard once per turn activation, the Transaction Rollback just uses it again. That is crazy. Did I play Warcraft? Yes, did. Big emphasis on did. We're going to Remus after searching for a Druid Swarm, grabbing a Ravine from the deck, and now we're going to get Fool Lawson. Well, before the Fool Loss resolves, I'm going to summon from the deck right here, right now, with our Big Welcome Labyrinth. Summon the Lovely, return back the Ariana, trigger the Lovely to pop a card in the hand, trigger the Ariane to draw, and then summon from the hand, which could be the Ariana. As the Torby reborns from the graveyard, as the Druid Swarm banishes that Torby, which does mess up the Woes. Begone Torby, semi-limited. As we summon Ariana, as I said, goodbye randomly, Lubellion in hand, add from the deck a Lady Labyrinth. Lady summoning under Fool Loss, no draw. Woes summon from the deck under Fool Loss, we're about to draw. We're going to draw off the Woes. We're going to draw off of the Welcome Labyrinth. Now the Lady's going to set a trap trick from the deck in response to the Woes. Whoa, we summon from the hand instead, not the deck, so we do not get to draw with the Fool Loss. Honda right now is thinking, what's wrong with my Fool Loss? It's broken. Now, we are going to be drawing a card because you summoned from the extra deck. Woes is actually a draw too. Summon from the deck and then make an extra deck monster. We're going to Diabell in response to the activation of a card as the Druid Swarm is sending Diabell to the grave. We're going to summon a Silvera. Silvera on summon. Again, Fool Loss, draw a card, flip face down the Lubellion as we have a Nibiru to tribute off the entire field of face-up monsters. We're going to summon a Buster Whelp grabbing Destruction Sword as we already have the prologue in hand, turning this into a Striker Dragon. If we activate the Welcome Labyrinth or the Transaction Rollback copying the effect of the Big Welcome, that is going to be drawing more cards off of Fool Loss. Fool Loss has already drawn 2 cards, and it's not done. We're going to Silvera, or the Engrave effect. We're going to be reborning itself from the grave. We're going to copy the effect of Trap Trick. Wait, we already Trap Tricked this turn, did we? Set a Daruma Cannon from the deck. Okay. As we now summon the Sylvie from Engrave, which is going to be negated, but we're going to use the Daruma to unnegate it. Ain't no way. We're going to wipe away the negate. That is ingenious. So smart. Wow. Okay. Banish for Wyverburster to come forth and summon to then turn this into a Pisty. So I want you to understand the ruling. If your monster is negated and you activate it, then you make it leave the field. It's still negated. The effect is no good. But if it is negated and you flip it face down, it's like a Kleenex wipe. You wipe away the negate and it's no longer negated. We're going to Collapse Serpent, search our deck as the Remus also gets, the Romulus that is, searching for another copy of the Dragoonity Ravine. I loved using this Ravine back in my day in Dragon Ruler. Also, I did use it in Dragoonity, but Dragoonity was not a combo deck. It was simply summon Legionnaire, equip the Achilles, and then pop 2 cards in the field. Or you would, what's the other one called, Gia? Dragoonity something. You then turn into a Stardust Dragon. Turn 1 Stardust Dragon was unstoppable back in my day. We're going to make a Hieratic Seal. With the Hieratic Seal, setting up the prologue. All you need with prologue is a Dragon Engrave, and you win. We are still drawing off the Fool Loss, mate. Ain't no way. We got Big Welcome being set from the deck. Woes triggering to set itself from the grave back into our back row here. Yeah, Vadriana, but what was before Vadriana? The normal monster, the regular monster. Labyrinth set up through the effect of Ariana come to us as we big welcome Labyrinth. Attempt to summon from the hand, deck, or grave. We're going to Sylvie, reborn itself from the grave as we then chain Prologue, send from the deck the way to fuse into the Destruction Swordsman. You're now going to banish to perform that fusion summon. We're now going to chain Labyrinth setup to return 2 Labyrinth cards back from the deck to set any 2 traps we want from the deck. This is a nutty duel. Holy moly. Not activatable unless we get access to a coup clock here. Are we doing that with the big welcome? We're going to fuse into the Buster Blader. Now, coup clock is activatable from the hand. So I would think that's the play, because we now just turned everything into dragon, and anything that's a dragon cannot activate. Return back the Ravine, summon Lovely. Where's the clock, mate? What, the clock? Chandelier triggering to add itself from the grave back to the hand. Buster Dragon is going to equip onto the Destruction Swordsman the whelp that turns off the extra deck from being used. No extra deck for you. We're going to summon a Magna Hut. Magna Hut triggering to search for a dragon during the end phase. Ash negated that because I guess why not? I would say that's an incredibly weak negate as we now end our turn. Now, back to us with the ability to pierce through any monster we want. Let's flip up that Lubellion. Setting up a Regained. Lovely cannot activate. We now have a Gay Durg. Gay Durg is going to be searching for a dragon or wing beast to then discard a card from our hand. We're going to grab the Ringo Worm, then discard it. Morella is going to send from the deck to the grave a transaction rollback to copy any trap in the grave. We have Woes, chaining a trap trick to the Woes to set any trap we want from the deck, as the Woes will then summon and perform a Synchro Summon if we're able to do so. The Dimensional Barrier is activatable the turn it's set as we summon an LZ and not Synchro. We're now going to use the effect of the Dimensional Barrier to negate Synchro monsters. Now, is it preventing the activate? Is it negating? Negate the effects of all monsters of that type while they are on the field. The effect of you turning me into a dragon, which turns me off from being able to activate my effects because of your fusion monster Buster Blader, will be no more. Chain Morella. You're negated. I'm no longer prevented from activating. The Buster Blader Destruction Swordsman is no longer good. I can't use Synchros. I can't summon Synchros. Let's go for Xyz. Hieratic Dragon, King of Adam is here. We're going to chain the big welcome to spin it back, triggering Lovely and the Ariana to pop a card in the field or the hand, and we're going to be drawing a card. Goodbye to Ivor Burster. As we randomly draw into a lady. What a great draw. We have transaction rollback, copying a trap in the grave, copying the effect of the Daruma Cannon to flip the entire field face down at the start of the battle phase. Holy moly. Serenir banishing the Hieratic Seal here, triggering Regain to return it back in the extra to draw a card. Triple Tactics Thrust, add from the deck to our hand a Triple Tactics Talent. You did activate a monster effect within the main phase, thus we now get to look at that hand and return it back, but you have no hand. Where'd the hand go? The hand is gone. Lady is summoned, Chandelier discarding the other card. Thus, Triple Tactics Talent completely nullified with no effect. Dong, nothing to look at. Let's send the Jerusalem to the grave for a Lubellion, triggering Jerusalem, targeting the face-down special summon Lovely to then send it to the grave. Ringo Worm is going to be banishing to summon an Apple token. With the Apple token, we're going to make a Protector Whelp Link 2, which could get a Destruction Sword monster from the deck into the grave. We're going to, or a trap that is, getting the Prologue into the grave as the Buster Whelp searches for another copy of Prologue. We're going to turn all this into a Borland Dragon, which cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, can attack everything in the field, but we're in main phase 2. We're also going to be activating Ravine. With Ravine, discard Prologue, send from the deck to the grave a Rocket Tracer, which turns on the Borland to be able to now negate any monster in the field. We cannot negate the Lady because it's indestructible and untargetable while we have a set card. What the heck is going on? In grave, do we have a way to fuse into another Buster? Or no, I don't think so. I think we do not have enough extra deck space to make another Buster Blader play. We're going to flip up our big welcome Labyrinth, chain Prologue, which does nothing. It's nothing. It's trash. Ignore that effect. Don't even try to read it. We're going to be reborning Lovely, returning back our set Alzette, triggering Lovely, and Chainlink blocking with Chandelier, but Borland does not care about Chainlink blocks. We're still going to trigger the effect of Regain to Reborn from Engrave, as we then use the Borland to target the monster to negate. Now, You'd maybe want to chain a card to have it dodge the negate, right? Well, you can't chain to Borland's negate. It's unrespondable. And we do have to reborn the Rocket Tracer, which is why we got into the grave through the effect of the Dragon Ravine. Negate, and you are permanently negated. You are not able to return a trap from the grave back onto the field. As we now use the effect of Chandelier to set up a Welcome Labyrinth here, which is not activatable at the moment. That was all draw phase. What the heck's going on? Elzette, send the Welcome Labyrinth to summon and search for a Rusia. Flip up the Morella to make a Paleozoic. What did I say? This deck was giving me Paleo vibes. Paleozoic, we're going to be detaching and searching for a Morella. The Morella can be activated from the hand, chaining Morella in grave to summon itself onto the field as we send any trap we want from the deck to grave. That trap going to be a transaction rollback. Of course it is. Rusia plus Morella now turning into a Silvera to flip the entire opposing field face down. Now, Silvera has this hidden effect that I think is absolutely insane, which is going to be relevant right here, right now. Inflict double piercing battle damage after flipping the whole field face down. Flip it. Now, Borland is unaffected, of course. It is a Link monster, and we got rid of the Silvera anyway, so all that hype for nothing. How do we deal with the Borland? Well, we're going to use the transaction rollback to copy the effect of the Big Welcome, also chaining Sylvia to return back the Silvera to reborn itself from the grave as we summon a monster from the deck or grave, and then return a monster back to our hand. That's going to be an Ariane, return back the Lovely, trigger the Ariane to draw a card, resummon the Lovely, which can now recycle a trap in grave, as we now make a Psy-Frame Lord Omega with no opposing card in the opponent's hand to get banishing. Lovely recycling the Daruma, which can deal with the Borland. We're going to pop the Regained. To battle we go. Let's clean up this field of non-Borland monsters. Yeah, are we able to take out the Buster Blader? We don't even try. End our turn. And we are now ready with the Daruma, which will force the Borland in grave. Off the top of the deck, we're now going to be recycling. Oh my gosh. This recycles rollback during the opponent's standby phase. That is insane. I don't care about your hand. I'm recycling rollback. Borland, negate the Baron to floor, reborn the Rocket Tracer, banish to summon a Red Eyes Darkness Metal, chain Omega to banish a card from the hand, Big Welcome Labyrinth, return a card on field back to the hand, Rocket Tracer, pop that card, which is going to stop the effect of the Lovely from being able to pop a card on field or in the hand. We're going to chain Daruma Cannon. Whoa. Someone's got to be thinking the Baron to floor is negated, which she is. She is negated, but if I flip her face down, I wipe away that negate. I ain't negated, mate. This is crazy. Again, we're prologuing for no reason. Ignore that. Did nothing. Wipe away the negate of the Baron de Floor. Goodbye to the Borland. Successfully negate and destroy the now face-down Rocket Tracer. Not popping a card, return back the Red Eyes, but now there's no face-up Lovely to trigger to pop a card in the field or in the hand. Now we're going to trigger the Lovely, we're going to trigger the Chandelier and the Welcome Labyrinth to set itself from the grave here and add back to our hand. I don't see how we could beat this Labyrinth deck. This Labyrinth deck is disgusting, and I love it. It is at 700 life, and the bust, oh, wait a second. We can attack a defense position monster and inflict piercing battle damage. I think we actually win. It is main phase 1. We will pierce for game. Huh? That's not game. Wait. Wait, wasn't Lovely game? If we swung in a Lovely, we won? Hold up. Wait a second. Did we miss game? Did we miss game? What's the defense of this thing? 2,400? 1,900? Oh my god. We could be so low on time, we didn't have time to check her D. We couldn't check. We didn't know. I mean, Lovely's big, right? She's probably got a big D. Damn. That's got to be a time limit loss. Maybe a surrender there, but time limit was probably why we couldn't check. Open this up with a quick launch. Chain the Full Loss. Full Loss of Max Seed. I don't know what's going on. There's some internal programming that ensures they're not going to ever be in the same hand. Drawing into an Ash Blossom, already massively impactful. We're going to draw again. So far, it's exactly like a Max C. Strike a Dragon, search from the deck. As we have that one Ash, we're not going to negate. Triple Tactics Thrust, grab a talent that we can't use. Now, this does not mean we made a mistake. It means maybe we don't have an impermanence. We don't play imperm, right? Or we're just going to use this next turn. We know that we're playing against a trap deck. A trap deck is not going to do what? One turn kill us. So if we instead focus on advantage. Big cards like Triple Tactics Talent, draw, take control, return a card back in the deck instead. Maybe that as being more impactful than impermanence, then this could make sense. Prologue, do we have a dragon in grave? If we do, then we got the play. Rocket Tracer is our dragon. There you go. We are going to be fusing with the Rocket Tracer plus the Buster Blader, and now all opposing monsters are turned into dragon and they cannot activate. What is good? Areas can activate from the hand to set a trap and make it activatable right away. Big Welcome Labyrinth is ready. With that big welcome, we're going to summon from the deck a Chandelier to add it back to the hand to then discard from our hand the Transaction Rollback, as we then use Transaction Rollback to copy the effect of Big Welcome Labyrinth to activate it again. By activating it again, we're going to summon from the deck a Torby to return back to the hand to get the other Transaction Rollback from our hand in grave, as we now set up a Welcome Labyrinth, triggering the Chandelier to add itself from the grave back to the hand off of a monster leaving the field due to a trap effect. As we then, as I said, discard that rollback to set up a Labyrinth setup to set up to 2 traps of whatever we want from the deck. We're going to be able to do that during the opponent's turn, as it is a quick play spell. And with the Welcome Labyrinth, we could gain access to a Coup Clock through an Ariana, which will then make one of the newly set traps from the Labyrinth setup activatable right away, or we can just do that with the Lady Labyrinth. We're going to, right away in the draw phase, exclaim Synchro monsters with Dimensional Barrier, thus Synchros cannot be summoned, and the Synchros on field are negated. Bro, this is like, we're doing this for no reason, but it actually gave them an Arius effect for no reason. That was not good. No bueno. Summon Arius as the Welcome Labyrinth summons to the deck an Ariana. Ariana is now going to be searching our deck for that Coup Clock, as I said. Wait, we chain link blocked the lady. Okay, correction. We did it for a reason. My bad. This card is good for chain link block and lady, but beyond that, it actually does not have a relevant effect. It doesn't do anything. But yes, chain link block lady, good. We're going, but the problem is the lady's still going to get its effect probably through whatever trap we set will be activatable. And if we don't have a chain link block for it, then we are in trouble. We're going to have a Trap Trick plus a Morella. Morella could get a Transaction Rollback from the deck into the grave. We already have a Transaction Rollback. Torby triggering add itself from the grave onto the field here. We could grab a Woes and then Synchro, flip the whole field face down, potentially. Chaos Space, discard, search, Serenir, send a Lubellion, tribute off Buster Dragon for a Lubellion, which will set up a Brain of Regained. With the Regain, we're going to banish the Buster Dragon to summon our Wyver Burster to now turn this into a Striker Dragon. We didn't want to trigger the Regained. The Wyver Burster triggering add its Collapse Serpent from the deck to our hand. We're going to use the Chaos Space instead of the Regain to return back the Buster Dragon to draw 1 card. As we now turn this into a Romulus to search our deck for maybe an Ash Negate. Nope. We're going to grab that Ravine, as we now can send any dragon we want from the deck or grab a Dragoonity from the deck to our hand. We're going to send an Absolrator, trigger Absolrator, grab from the deck a Rocket Tracer. We have not committed to the normal summon yet until now, as we summon Tracer to now make a Pisty. Now, Pisty cannot summon a banished or engraved monster unless we have a link arrow pointing to where it's pointing to. So we're going to use the Boot Sector launch to reborn the Rocket Tracer from engrave, as we now activate Morella, send an Elemental Burst to copy the effect of Elemental Burst to wipe away the entire field. Holy moly! Oh, Jesus! Dude was just waiting to wipe away the entire field. That's nice, Dragon Link. Now wipe it! Cool deck. Super cool. Oh my Jesus. Begin. We're going to max C at the start of the turn. There is an impermanence, which does protect us from the Mansion. And the Mansion does also help against a lot of hand traps. You gotta know that even a card like Ash Blossom, which you may think it's protecting from Ash, it actually isn't. Because if you use Rogue Doll from the hand, it's Ashable. And it also doesn't protect you from the impermanence. Here we do. We got the Little Soldier, which is a cost to send from the deck. Do not negate that. As the Rogue Doll adds the grave back to the hand, you do want to Ash this effect as we reveal a level 4 to summon a Terror Baby from the deck. This activates. This is going to burn for 3,000 damage and draw a card, and then you will, on an open field, be able to activate your impermanence. Wipe it, 3K. King Sark, discard, Ash Blossom. Holy crap, I'm about to get first turn killed. Negate. From sending a card from the deck to the grave? Bro, that's activatable like 10 times. That's not a good negate. We're just panicking. We are panicking. Little Soldier changed the level of Terror Baby to level 8, turning this into a Puppet Strings. The impermanence is activatable. We can imperm if we want to. We're not going to yet. We could wait for the effect. The thing is, if you wait too long... Oh, man. I think we made a mistake. We forgot to use this. Detach a material from your Xyz, then target a gimmick puppet and summon it to your opponent's field in defense, and then... blocking impermanence, you then rank up into Dark Strings for game, which they can't impermanent, but now they can. Wait, he bistalled right away? Really? Oh my gosh, I didn't even see it. Well, then, we just first turn killed through a maxi challenge. Lethal damage. Where was the bistall? I just missed it? Did Little Soldier send bistall? I did not see that. I'm scrolling. Wait, we condolence puppeted, and then we activated. My brain started here. I thought this was the first play. Oh my goodness! Wow. Yeah, I thought this was the first play. We actually started this off. Very well done. Holy moly! All right, Maxi in the draw phase with no way to stop it. Can you even get mad at your opponent Maxiing you anymore? Because if it weren't for Maxi, it should at least be a full loss. It's now so common, we now have to accept the game state of your opponent will draw if you special summon, and that's now Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. That's it. Maxi. You Maxi also? Ooh, we made sure to Maxi before the Griffin Rider was special summoned in our main phase. We're going to be chaining Maxi to our own Griffin Rider being special summoned. We probably should have Maxi in the draw phase, as the Griffin Rider is only special summonable within the main phase, but if you don't have your toggle on set to become toggled on when your opponent ends their turn, then you could mistakenly enter main phase before you would even want to activate your Maxi. It's in the in-game settings. I highly recommend it. You should always have your toggle on be turned on by the in-game settings at the end of a turn. Imperm onto the Griffin Rider. We're going to King Sark. Or maybe we wanted to trick... I think we did that on purpose. We wanted them to summon Griffin so that we could imperm. Otherwise, we would have not been able to imperm by making another play. That was smart. That was actually smart. Yup, we did it on purpose. Rogue Doll, reveal and Xyz summon from the deck a Cattle. And with this, I mean, bro, you're under Maxi again. Are you good, bro? Like, no, this is now turn 2. They got some hidden back row. You can't do this. We're going to be searching for a rank up. No, we're not, because Droplet will negate. I did say it was intentional, yes. Draco back, being sent to the grave, will then equip onto the token. And what do we do from here? We're under Max C. We don't care. We don't care. We obviously don't care. We just summoned 2 Horus cards under Max C, giving them 2 more cards to draw. And now we're linking into the Gimmick Puppet Link 2. A 3rd card drawn just from now, as we now grab a Fiendish Knight. We're not done. We're going to make a giant grinder with giant feet with the ability to grind special summon monsters on the field. Triggering Machine X to reborn itself in the graveyard to add back the rank up card in grave, which we never searched for, so there's no rank up. Where's the rank up? We're taking out the token, taking out the Griffin, 3,000 damage on the field. We're going to reborn the Rogue Doll by summoning our Fiendish Knight. And we're going to Little Soldier turn the Fiendish Knight into a level 8. And with that, we're going to make a Puppet of Strings, giving us 6,000 damage. Still not enough for lethal damage. We're going to be reborning our Cattle Scream to give us 8,000 damage. What is this deck? I cannot believe this. Lethal damage going second without the rank up spell. We won without the rank up spell under the effect of Max C. That is insane. Holy moly. And we tricked them into summoning Griffin. I'm Seti, discard a card, search our deck for a King Sark, plus draw an additional card. You definitely want to be able to ash this effect if you can. King Sark now allowing us to reborn the I'm Seti, discard a card from the hand, and then send a horse card from the deck to the grave to then reborn to now make our rank 8 Xyz potentially, which will be our Photon Lord. Lord. And my first ever preview of the horse cards, I said one of the great benefits of horse was that if you put it into any deck, it stops Nibiru. And that's exactly what it's doing a year from when I debuted it. But no, that's actually not what it's doing because we didn't have an actual play after summoning Photon Lord to stop Nibiru. Heck, wait. We do have Maxi, Veiler, and Photon Lord to negate a monster effect, though. Veiler and Photon Lord, double monster, negate. Grab a grass looking greener, mate. Thank you. Are thrust stocks going to go up or what? I mean, we can't thrust a card into our hand if we get first turn Mulcharmied, but maybe, as someone was saying, triple tactics talent will become a lot better as people maybe save it for the main phase, or maybe you could just start putting in a really good trap from the deck that's not just in permanents to set from the deck. Let's now resolve this grass. Ton of cards milled. As you grab an Aliber from the deck to the effect of Tragedy being sent to the grave, Aliber now searching our deck for nothing as the effect Veiler negates. We still have Photon Lord monster negate. Does it destroy? It does not. Just negate the effect, just like a Veiler. We are going to send from the deck a Retribution. Retribution, add back a Branded Lost. Branded Lost will make it so the Photon Lord does nothing. Photon Lord now cannot negate anything because we can't respond to the Fusion Summon. As we summon an Albion, non-respondable, but we are under Max C. Do we go for game? Lost triggering. This chain link order is very important. You want to put your activation of Fusion Summoning on chain link 1, or the Branded Lost will miss the timing on protecting you from not being responded to. We're going to be summoning a Lubellion off of the Albion. Again, can't respond to this. We're going to, with the Mercurier being banished, trigger to search our deck for an Albaz monster as the Branded Sword now adds back that banished Mercurier. All this we can't chain. No chain. A window of non-chainable. And then in response to our own Fusion Summon, where again, you can't chain, I would say you activate Mirror Jade in response to its summon, not in an open game state where it could get negated, to then banish the Photon Lord. Are we doing that? Did we do it? Yes, we did. Yup. Couldn't negate. Could not negate. And just like that, Max C challenge accomplished. What is going on today? Players are becoming a lot more bold against Max C because of the release of Mulcharmy. Did everyone go into today's event thinking, if I get Mulcharmy or Max Seed, I don't care. I'm going to pretend like I'm not seeing them draw and just make my full play and win. We're going to start this off with Medallion, searching our deck for a Mirror Mage. We're going to now be following up with King Sark, discarding from our hand that Mirror Mage to send from the deck a Horus. Neither player can activate spell cards until the end of your next turn, but only while this is face up. She is censored. Yes, I don't think she had leggings on. And that's it. If we can't deal with this at 2,000 defense, we can't grass, we can't fusion deployment, we can't use branded in high spirits. I love floodgates, who doesn't? We got Baron to floor negate anything, Ice Jade banish in response to an activation, plus make our field unbanishable and indestructible. We have Lancia, which will help summon extra floodgates, and we have Veiler negate a monster. So, let's go. We'll just put the floodgate up there. 4. Oh, contact fusion. Goodbye to Lancia. Lancia triggering on Chainlink 1, thus it's not missing the timing on the Trushilla. Trushilla is here. On summon, banish a card from the hand, from the field, from the grave. Banish. We just have Quem, but we already summoned. Oh my Jesus. What? You just have to send an ice barrier. If you have an ice barrier to send, now you maybe have confused here. We didn't send an ice barrier. We cheated through the Revealer. Revealer says when you're activating an ice barrier by discarding, you could banish her from the grave to pay the cost of sending an ice barrier instead, by banishing instead. So with the Veiler in hand, we didn't have to discard an ice barrier, and just like that, spells were not allowed to be used. We opened up Fualos, but we're going first, meaning the Fualos is trash. And Jin, if you're playing Veiler, I think that means you're not playing Full Loss, right? I forget. Did you have Full Loss in any of your other games? There's no way you have room for Valor and Full Loss and Ash and Imperm and Maxi and Called By. We're going to be following this up with a Branded in White after our normal summoned Aliber has been negated from searching for Branded Fusion. We're going to be making a Coritis. With our Coritis, we're going to be sending it to the graveyard with Aliber to now make a Verte Anaconda. You negated me from searching for Branded Fusion, but I now can send Branded Fusion from the deck to the grave to send the Anaconda plus the Albaz to now make a Mirror Jade. Now this Mirror Jade, deceptively, looks like a single disruption. It's actually two. And we have Fusion Duplication with the Thrust. Absolutely disgusting. The Mirror Jade will not only non-target monster banish, but specifically when used with Verte, it ensures that the Albaz that you use for the Fusion is still in the grave. It's not banished, it's not returned back in the deck, and with it still being in the grave, we could send Rinbrum with the Mirror Jade to then reborn the Albaz and then fuse the opposing field. Thus, the Full Loss is discard fodder, and it actually had good use in this duel. We do also have the Fusion Duplication to copy the effect of Branded Fusion. Let's see what happens about a triple disruption here. King Sark, discard a card, send from the deck I Am Seti. We're going to Fusion Dupe, copy the Branded Fusion. Send from the deck an Albaz and Cartesia to make an Albion. On Albion Summon, we're going to further fuse again, banishing from Engrave to now make a Borreload Furious to now pop that King Sark. But there's another one in hand, just like that. Activate another King Sark. You up, mate. Send from the deck a Horus. This is a situation. What do we do? If I wait to use Mirror Jade, then the Horus cards will trigger because you made one of my cards leave the field by card effect. What does this one even do? Another card leaves the field, so if you deal with my I'm Seti, I could draw cards equal to the number of monsters with different names in your main monster zone. I'll just draw one. Maybe not that big of a deal. We summon I'm Seti. We allow it to go into a Typhon. That's it. Mirror Jade's turned off. Can't even activate. Not negated, just can't activate. Triggering Aliber to reborn from Engrave to turn off the Dumatef. We still attack. Non-target send to the grave. Wipe out the Borreload. And now back to Abomod with just a Full Loss in hand plus the Cartesia triggering add back. And the Albion also setting up from the deck a Branded Banishment. Branded Banishment is not going to be reborning the Mirror Jade because it was returned back into the extra deck. We're going to summon Cartesia, reborn from the grave, the Borreload, and then fuse with the Typhon and Cartesia to now make a Grand Granole. As the banishment allows us to fuse with either side of the field, just like a Super Polymerization, Dumatef is triggering to draw an entire one card. Because you made my card leave the field, we now have a Valor. With the Albion being sent from the deck to the grave, we are going to be using its effect to send a Retribution to then add back from Engrave our Branded in White. Branded in White could use the graveyard if we have an Albaz in grave. We do have an Albaz in grave. Let's fuse with the grave, banishing the Anaconda and Albaz to go straight into that Mirror Jade. And with that, we have 8,500 damage on the field. Start of the battle phase. Banish the Dumatef. Open field. Lethal damage with double Full Loss in hand. Moral support. Nicely done. Begin. Start this off with Ariana. Searching our deck for a Labyrinth setup. You do not want to Ash Negator, but you do want to use Imperm. So don't confuse what you're negating with. As we trap Trick, banish from the deck a Big Welcome to set up another Big Welcome. We do want to Ash that definitely. Big Welcome activatable right here, right now, thanks to the trap Trick. Negate with the Ash as we then chain Arius because you're activating an effect in response to a Labyrinth card. Thus, we reborn her from the grave. Let's now Labyrinth set up 2 traps, whatever traps we want from the deck. How does this card exist? As we now have a Morella plus a Dimensional Barrier. Dimensional Barrier could turn off any extra deck type except Link Summoning, which Branded does not have except an Anaconda, which is not even in this deck list. We're going to start this off with Allure of Darkness, banishing an Albion from our hand. As we Gold Sark banish a Mercurier to trigger the effect to grab an Albaz from the deck, which will be an Albaz Cartesia. Let's now Dimensional Barrier, making fusion monsters illegal. We're going to special summon Cartesia alongside the Albaz, which both cannot activate to fuse. We're now going to Morella send a rollback from the deck to the grave to then rollback copy the effect of Trap Trick. Trap Trick banishing from the deck a Big Welcome Labyrinth to set a Big Welcome Labyrinth to make it activatable to turn its set. To now summon from the deck, hand or grave, a Lovely Labyrinth. Return back the Butler, trigger the Ariana and the Lovely. We're going to pop a card from the hand or fields, and we're going to draw a card. Goodbye to Albaz as we draw with Ariana. And now we're going to follow this up with a triple tactics thrust into an Allure of Darkness again. YOLO Allure with Branded Fusion in our hand. We're going to randomly draw into an Albur, then banish it. Now with the Branded Loss, we're going to activate. No, we can't. We can't use it. Can't fuse because of Dimensional Barrier. Now, we lose. Not because, well, one Dimensional Barrier you lose. This is infinite Dimensional Barrier. Just like that, she's going to continually recycle the same Dimensional Barrier over and over and over again. And what is our out? What can we do to stop it? And we really wanted the Branded Fusion to be sent to the grave randomly by the Allure of Darkness because it does state that if you do not have a dark monster in your hand, you send your hand to the grave to then copy the effect with the duplication. So that was not good to draw into the Albur. That was unlucky. We're now going to Lovely. Oh, so Lovely, popping that duplication. I'm out of here. Screw you, Lovely. Oh my gosh. Grass makes your deck size equal to your opponent's. Their deck is 55 cards. No! Damn. 60 versus 60. We're going to discard the rollback to summon the Elzette. Search our deck for the Estella. We're going to normal summon Ariana, Droplet, negate. Are we still coping on the greener? I mean, they could mill out their deck a bunch and then make the grass looking greener relevant next turn. Sure, so we didn't send it to the grave. As we now summon Rusia from the hand, send the Woes to grab from our deck, just randomly draw a card that is. Woes trigger and it reset itself into the back row as we now make a Rusilla. Rusilla can send a spell or trap card to search our deck for a White Forest card or Light Spell Caster. We're going to transaction rollback, copy the effect of Big Welcome to summon from the deck, then return a monster back to our hand. Holy moly, this deck is crazy good. We're going to grab a Woes with Rusilla, trigger the effect of Ariane, draw a card, then special summon Ariana back onto the field. Elzette's going to be banished by the Magna Hut, but we're going to chain Stovey to discard a card, goodbye to a Stellar, to set up into the back row our Welcome Labyrinth. Now, the Ariane still has the effect to send a normal trap to special summon a Fiend from the deck. Exactly that is happening. As we send Welcome Labyrinth to summon Chandelier, we're going to trigger the effect of a Stellar here to Reborn from Engrave to now turn this into a Diabel. How's this all working perfectly? What the heck? Diabel, recycle back Big Welcome back to the hand. Chandelier, discard the Woes from in hand here. We're going to chain the Rusia to return back Rusilla back in the extra deck to Reborn from Engrave but be negated. With that, we're going to set up the Labyrinth, set up to be used during the opponent's turn. Come back to us, Big Welcome Labyrinth. Derica's going to get Labyrinth set up banned or something. I don't even know. What is going on? We're going to Psy-Frame Lord Omega, which we already saw how powerful this card is. You don't use it to banish from the hand. That's small brain. The real power of the Omega is, you're about to see it. Let's see. Omega, recycle, transaction rollback. So powerful we have to use Forbidden Droplet to negate it. Droplet send Albaz to negate the Omega. And just like that, you will not recycle rollback to copy another trap Engrave. Insane. We're going to Big Welcome Labyrinth, chain Rusia to return the Diabel on field back to our hand, which would be our extra deck. As the Big Welcome summons a Lovely from the deck to then return back to our hand, the Rusia, to trigger the Lovely to randomly pop. What do we want popped here? Let's see the deck. Are you ready? 45 cards to 53, mill 8, or search our deck for exactly what we want. I think the mill 8, I don't know, it's kind of up in the air. Chandelier triggering to recycle itself from the grave back to the hand. This deck feels like it's on another level. I don't know. This is already game 2. What is going on here? Ariana, draw a card. It's a Fool Loss. Of course, that's dead. Chandelier, add back to the hand here. Randomly taking out the grass looking greener as you now have Alibur. Alibur on summon, search the deck for a branded fusion. We're going to Morella, send from the deck to the grave a transaction rollback. Transaction rollback, copy the effect of a Big Welcome Labyrinth, summoning the clock, return back the clock, discard the clock to now use whatever trap we want. What's a good trap? How about a Dimensional Barrier? Yeah, let's add a Woes on top of that too. Yes, Daring Today, as we then Morella block our Woes, but then we're gonna Torby to unblock our Woes so we can summon a monster from the deck to then Synchro. This dude's playing with himself. What is going on? Stigmata, are you just watching? What is happening? Summon Morella, summon from the deck, Synchro with the Morella, summon from Engrave into a Silvera to flip face down the Alibur on a separate chain link. As the Labyrinth setup sets up from the deck, Dimensional Barrier, which is activatable. You had to see it to believe it. You had to see it we weren't even done. We were gonna set another trap. In the middle of the resolution of setting 2 traps from the deck, we have surrendered. This really is on another level. Begin. We'll start this off with a Gold Sark banishing from the deck, likely a Tragedy. Triggering the Tragedy to search our deck for an Alibur. Hold the Ash. Do not let them eat your Ash. That is the rule with Ash Blossom versus Branded. If they eat it with something that's not the Branded Fusion, you lose. You now Ash the Branded Fusion. Perfect. All day, let that Branded Fusion eat your Ash. That is fine. Negate. But now, Thrust sets a duplication to copy the Engrave Branded Fusion. And that's why they play Thrust. We now make a Grand Granule, send from the deck, nothing as the Imperm negates. That's fine. I'm going to be thrusting that duplication. I am ready. And it's worth noting, Gimmick Puppet is a first turn kill deck with an immensely powerful turn to play, multiple plays. And as I said, duplication set to copy the effect of Branded Fusion. Let's Imperm preemptively the Grand Granule, sure. And now, Rogue Doll. Reveal a rank 4 to summon a level 4 from the deck and summon itself. Little Soldier, send from the deck a Bisque Doll. We're not going to activate the effect to make ourselves untargetable. We're going to go right into Gimmick Puppet Machine X. With this, we need an open game state to activate to search our deck for a rank up magic spell. And because of that, we could respond to the summon before it activates to fusion summon with duplication, as we're doing right now to make a Mirror Jade. Mirror Jade will now activate to non-target monster banish that Machine X off of the field. Rogue Doll, when sent to the graveyard except from the hand, will add itself back to the hand. As we pass on no play whatsoever, we surrender. But now the first turn kill deck is going first. Rogue Doll activates summon from the deck, reveal level 4 to summon the Little Soldier. Little Soldier on summon, send from the deck a Cattle Scream. Let's talk about our forms of disruption. The Fool Loss, unfortunately, no good here. Maxi is good. We do have the Ash Blossom, an Imperm to negate a monster effect, the ability to steal one monster temporarily, and destroy a monster on special summon. 4 disruption in a first turn kill deck. This deck's well-rounded. We're to summon Cartesia, activate the Lubellion to search our deck for a Magna Hut. Tribute Serenir to summon our Lubellion from the grave here. Trigger the Serenir to send from the deck. We're going to trigger the effect of the Chaos Machine X to destroy the newly summoned Lubellion, and then burn for 1250. Serenir sending the Retribution. So we're now down to triple disruption. We're going to Ash Blossom, negate a Thrust. Thrust just ate our Ash instead of a Branded Fusion. Interesting. We have 2 disruption left. Maxi in response to the Magna Hut banishing our Machine X and Grave. We're going to chain Branded Opening to discard a card to summon from the deck. Discarding another Branded Opening to summon our Alibur. We still have Take Control and negate a monster on field. Magna Hut activating. Now, we can't Imperm. This is a good Imperm. You should Imperm Alibur, but you need context. And the context is the Alibur cannot be Impermed with a Cartesia on field that has not activated yet. It will dodge the impermanence. They'll get the effect. They'll lose nothing. Don't do it. Come to us, Branded Fusion. And now we have that Brain Infusion anyway. Puppet play. Force the activation of Cartesia. This may not make sense to you, but the sense it makes to me is by getting rid of Cartesia, I now could use Impermanence on your newly summoned monster. So now it kind of makes sense. Forcing the activation, otherwise I would have taken control. And now we have our Impermanence no longer being stopped. I mean, we got them under maxi. We're drawing per special. I mean, we should be in a good spot, right? Albion on summon, activate Grand Grenole, also triggering Imperm now safely being used on that Albion to negate the fusion summon. Negate. As the Grand Grenole sends from the extra deck to the grave a Titan Cloud, which will summon a Quen during the end phase, likely to battle. We go, getting Albion into the grave so it can trigger during the end phase. Cartesia add itself back during the end phase as the Titan Cloud summons an Albaz instead of a Cartesia, or I should say a Quem, to now fuse with the opposing. Bro, we are under maxi. You thought it was a good idea to give them 2 more cards. Holy moly. It's probably the right play, but it's still insane to me. Albion set from the deck a branded banishment, 7 cards in hand. Can we stop an 8-card hand? The problem with this hand is, where is that card, the Condensed Doll? The Condensed Doll would send up to 3 cards from the deck to the graveyard, which would make us untargetable, unrespondable, they can't chain to our effects, but instead of that, we do have the Mansion, which could make our monsters unaffected by any monster effect. We have a non-target monster banished, plus the ability to fuse at either side of the field, plus turn into a fusion disruption, plus, I think Rinbrum Reborn Albaz is a play. We have 4 disruption, plus a Serenir, which I'll count as disruption in the Gimmick Puppet matchup here. So I'll say 5, okay? Let's go. Ooh, a loss, early up. That's gonna be relevant, actually. Mansion searching for a Fiendish Knight. Little Soldier unaffected by monster effects, but the banishment will still affect us. Bisque Doll now made us untargetable. Rogue Doll summoning from the deck. Another copy of Rogue Doll plus itself in the hand. Triggering Grand Grenole to summon from the deck a Quem. Thank you, Fualos, draw a card. Why not? Quem sent from the deck an Albion, which is going to do nothing. Make ourselves a Machine X. Trigger the rank up to add from the grave back to our hand. We're going to use the effect of Quem to reborn the Cartesia. Now, Cartesia could fuse with the Mirror Jade after non-target monster banishing, but they're still unaffected from being banished, to then use the banishment to reborn the Mirror Jade to non-target monster banish again. We're going to use the Serenir banishing the Little Soldiers here to disallow the ability to change the level of a monster to level 8, even though we were not making that play. Okay, so what we were doing here was we were targeting the Little Soldier with the field spell to summon it onto the opponent's side of the field, and we said, no, do not do that. Sure. We now have the Borreload Furious Dragon thanks to the effect of the Cartesia, which does have the ability to pop the field spell. By popping the field spell, we now can affect the monsters with the field spell no longer being there. The problem is, does the field spell, did Konami put effort into balancing this field spell? If I have another field spell in hand, can I activate another copy? They did! You can only activate 1 mansion if I deal with the other mansion. It's actually balanced. That was a huge problem. The rank up Numeron Force states that by ranking up our monster, any face-up cards on the field other than the card and the monster summoned by it are negated. Negate the effects of all other cards on the field. So we're going to Mirror Jade. Non-target monster banished, but the field spell's protecting. But we could chain the Borreload Furious to pop Mirror Jade plus the field spell, so on resolution, there's no field spell, and there's no Xyz monster to rank up with your Numeron Force, thus you do not negate the entire field. And with the Mirror Jade Engrave, we could Branded Banishment, bring it back. We're now making Puppet of Strings. With the Puppet of Strings, we're going to put a Puppet counter onto every other monster on the field. And now with the Rogue Doll being sent to the grave, it's going to recycle itself back to our hand. We're now going to turn this into a Link 2 Chimera Doll. With this, the Fiendish Knight goes back to the hand, but that does not matter. We're going to use Rinbrum to attempt to reborn the Albaz from the graveyard, but with no cards in the hand, it's no good. Wrong. We are going to add a card to our hand through the effect of the Retribution to ensure that the Albaz on summon can discard Diffuse, but the Call by the Grave is going to be fingering our play. Goodbye to the Albaz. We almost fused with the Chimera Doll, which requires an open game state to activate its effect to search our deck and then special summon a Gimmick Puppet. A very powerful effect you want to stop. We're going to Branded Banishment, Reborn from Engrave the Mirror Jade, to then fuse with your Gimmick Puppet that you stopped me from doing by banishing my Albaz to now turn it into a Caritas. The Fool Loss is continually drawing here. As we grab a King Sark off of the newly drawn I'm Seti thanks to Fool Loss. With the King Sark, we're going to discard a baby, send from the deck another I'm Seti. With the Terror Baby, we're going to make it illegal to activate in response to the activation of any of our Gimmick Puppet activations. We're going to Reborn from Engrave both of our level 8 horse cards and now turn this into a Puppet of Strings. With this, we're going to put a Puppet counter onto everything. And now, we're going to use Rank Up Magic Force to attempt to destroy every other card on the field with a Puppet counter, but with the non-target monster banish, Banish, the Puppet of Strings. Thus, the Rank Up Magic Force does nothing, and we end our turn. No way Abelmod was able to outplay, what, 14, 15 cards? I don't know how many cards are in her hand after a Maxi plus a Fool Loss on the follow-up. We had endless fuel for our hand to make as many plays that we could ever want to make. We were untargetable, we were unrespondable, but the Rank Up Magic card is not a Gimmick Puppet card, thus the Terror Baby does not make it so they can't respond to it. The Terror Baby state monsters anyway. I gotta read the Terror Baby real quick. Terror Baby, it states of Gimmick Puppet monster effects. So even if it did say Gimmick Puppet, it wouldn't matter. It's just monster effects you cannot respond to. And just like that, branded, 60 card branded versus 60 card Labyrinth White Forest in the grand finale. Both players, I believe, are playing grass looking greener. It's no good. Get ready for the grand finale. Grand finale. This is it. We have Labyrinth, White Forest, Elemental Burst, wipe out the entire field of cards, 60 card deck versus a 60 card deck branded. Abelmod using and abusing Fool Loss. Was the impact of Fool Loss on today's event grand? Was it a big deal? I don't know. You're going to have to tell me in the comments, honestly. Maybe it's going to take more tournaments to really see the negative or positive impact this card is having. There were some matches where I think Fool Loss completely stole the game, but it was similar to just a Maxi. Unfortunately, I am not seeing many games where Fool Loss is being drawn as duos and twos of, or even being drawn with Maxi. Where is the Maxi plus Fool Loss? Where's Fool Loss plus Fool Loss? Something is going on. It's too fishy. Start this off with the deployment, revealing Albion to summon from the deck in Albaz. We now can special summon Cartesia with an Albaz on the field or in the grave. We can now normal summon the Aluber, which is immune to an impermanence or a Veiler. And just like that, for that branded fusion, saving ourselves, saving our Ash to negate. Now, with this current field, we have non-target monster banish. We have negate with Mercurier, any monster effect, which could be the Butler. Now, the Mercurier does send itself to the graveyard, which means the Call by the Grave will be able to finger it. That is unfortunate. We do have the Banishment, which could fuse with either field, which is a form of disruption. We then have the Banishment turning into a form of disruption through the fusion it summons. And with 4 disruption, do we have another? That's pretty much it. Let's go. Granted Banishment right away. Reborn the Albion, so we're not going to fuse with the field. As we turn this into a Light and Darkness Dragon Lord, so what do we have now? The Light and Darkness Dragon Lord has a mandatory quick effect activation in response to either player activating a card or the effect of a monster. So what about our Branded Lost? It does not negate our own Branded Lost. It's going to lose 1,000 attack and defense after either player activates to then negate. Let's go. Grabbing an Albion, so we have 1, 2, 3 negates, 4 for a non-target monster banish, and 5 for the monster negate. Butler, I can't choose to negate, I have to. It's once per chain, so we're gonna chain the other effect in response to that. As we're attempting to negate the Butler, we're gonna be chaining the Chandelier, discard and transaction rollback, using Mercurier to negate the Chandelier, as we then use Call by the Grave to negate the negate. Negate the Mercurier. Chandelier will be resolving here, setting up the Big Welcome Labyrinth. Light and Darkness, negate the Butler. Thrust, negate the Thrust with Light and Darkness Dragon Lord. Does this card push Branded to a new level or what? Now, can Light and Darkness Dragon Lord negate a transaction rollback? No, but it can negate the Big Welcome. But then the transaction rollback could copy the Big Welcome. So we're not done, right? I mean, even with that, I think we're pretty much done. Whoa, you gotta make plays, right? You are negating yourself. What the negate? Negate. Chain Retribution to the negate because we do want to make some plays. And now we don't have to worry about being negated. Big Welcome Labyrinth. Summon from the deck, hand, or grave, then return a monster back to our hand. Come back to us, lady. And now we have our Branded Fusion. With our Branded Fusion and the Light and Darkness Dragon Lord now reduced to 0 defense, it no longer can negate. It will try, though. It will forever continually activate. We're going to be adding back the Chandelier. Branded Fusion here. All right, sure, why not? As we now get to come forth and send from the deck to make an Albion. With this Albion and the Lubellion plus Albaz being sent to the grave, we're going to be activating, and we cannot respond to these effects whatsoever. Light and Darkness, Dragon Lord again. Keep on activating. Now, it's actually worth noting, this very weird card, it does chain link block. You may be thinking that because it's not a trigger effect, it's a quick effect, the opponent gets to respond before this activates. No. If I activate a Branded Fusion and I have a Dragon Lord, you can't Ash it now. If the Dragon Lord's at 0, it's gonna block the Ash. Is this purposeful on how good this card could be after the negates are gone? Huh? Well, we got rid of it anyway. Come forth, Bore Load. Quick effect mandatory is a higher priority than optional. So you could start a chain link with a quick effect or a spell speed 1, and then you will chain the Dragon Lord to your card before the opponent can even respond, even though it's not a trigger. We're gonna summon a lady onto the field plus summon from the deck through the effect of the transaction rollback, copying the effect of the Big Welcome Labyrinth, triggering the Ariana to draw a card or search our deck here. As the Mercurier now negates, we're gonna chain the Arius to Reborn from the graveyard because you activated in response to the activation of a Labyrinth card to help try block an attack. Negate the Mercurier. Come forth and summon. I was Mercurier negated. Wasn't it like fingered? Yeah, it's fingered. We forgot about the finger. Get swinging. Borelord Furious with Albion being popped plus the Butler opening up lethal damage. Just like that, advancing into game number 2. All right. All right. Ooh. Ooh, grass. Oh, 55 cards, so grass is dead. Oh, clock, but there. Oh my god, we could set the Big Welcome activate, but then we get at. Oh my Jesus. This was almost so good, but it's so bad now. Oh no. Labyrinth, please. Don't lose this. We're not gonna even clock. We're just gonna chill. Coup clock and chill. All right, we're not gonna like try to summon Ariana or anything, okay. Oh wait, the clock has, okay, this is not TCG Locals, I'm sorry, I did not try to cheat. This states that if you control a Labyrinth monster, only then do you get the coup clock effect of activating a newly set trap. After putting this into the grave, we do not have a Labyrinth monster, so that would be an illegal play. XC. The illegal play was attempting to activate the trap. You could still activate the clock, you're just not going to be doing it, as the Ash negates Max C. Max C loves to eat that Ash because we can now follow up with the Big Welcome Labyrinth, which maybe we should have set the coup clock, right? I think we probably should have set. Yeah, I don't know about keeping this clock in the hand being the play. We have Tragedy Engrave triggering to search our deck for an Aluber. We do have that open normal summon, as you can see there. Grand Grenol send from the deck in Albion. Aluber searching for a Branded Fusion. Serenir, banishing our own card here, as we then send it to the graveyard to come forth and summon our Lubellion. It's not over yet. It's not over. We're going to send from the deck with the Serenir a Retribution, recycle a Branded Spell or Trap, as we then follow up with a Branded Fusion, protected by the Branded Lost. Right now, we cannot chain Big Welcome. Can't chain Big Welcome, can't chain anything to these effects. And by putting the Albion on Chain Link 1, we're going to have a separate chain that we cannot respond to. Banishing from the grave for Borlord Furious. This is a situation. We cannot respond to the Fusion Summon. But if you respond to your own Fusion Summon, they still can't respond to you responding to your own Fusion Summon. Thus, you can right now take out that Big Welcome Labyrinth, and we cannot chain it. That's what we're doing. Yep. Wow. All right. Big Welcome's gone. Couldn't even chain it. Ain't no way. 10,000 damage. Abelmod. Lethal for game. Wow. Derica was on an unstoppable 2-0 streak, clapping people left and right, and then Branded just decimated Derica. Derica, you're still top tier. Thank you very much. I need your D. I'm going to be using it. It's a great deck list. White Forest. We didn't even see White Forest in the grand finale. What the heck? People wouldn't even know if they just watched the grand finale. Meta Weekly on the new pack day on a Thursday, and Branded happens to be the best deck. What is this? Well, I would say Branded is a deck that likely is one of the top decks that's the least affected by something like a Fua loss. If you Maxi or Fua loss them, Branded could just set up to make all their plays on your own turn. And then Labyrinth, another deck that's not going to be severely affected by back-to-back Maxi and Fua loss. That's another thing you have to think about Fua loss and Maxi. You could overload the opponent with all your Fua losses and Maxis in a single turn, or you could look at your hand and go, ooh, Fua loss, Maxi, I'm going to layer it over the next 3 turns. Turn 1 Maxi, turn 2 Fua loss, turn 3 Fua loss, and by the time that happens, maybe you have more Fua loss, more Maxi. And a lot of decks, I think, are going to be struggling big time because of that. So you have to now think, what decks can end on minimal disruption with minimal special summoning and not have to worry as much about the Fua loss or something like Maxi being comboed up with Fua loss or being layered over multiple different turns. So I think the meta right now is just completely jumbled. In addition to that, we're all just waiting for the new best deck. We don't really have a best deck here. A lot of the decks here, they are super pre-hit from other ban lists. Now, without further ado, let's hop into the deck list. Ninja, Shinobi, 40 cards, no Fua loss. We're playing Ogre instead of Fua loss, and Ghost Bell instead of Fua loss. Ain't no way. Good job, Shinobi. I think you have made me want to pick back up Ninjas again. Yes, I'm very happy you did well in today's event. Thank you so much for showing off your top tier plays. I loved it. The chat loved it. We all loved it. You are great. Voiceless Voice, Genji. What happened? I thought that more Voiceless Voice players would be in the top cut outside of just Genji. Theoretically, you have Fua loss not affecting this deck as much because you're summoning your Skull Guardians from your hand, you're summoning your Low from the grave. So under Fua loss, they may not even draw a single card. Yet still, not a great performance for Voiceless Voice in today's event, but we do have next week and other multiple different community tournaments. So I'm still on the fence for Voiceless Voice being one of the best decks. I'm predicting it to be really good against the use of everyone having Fua loss. With that said, where's the Fua loss? I'm going to say it for every deck. If I'll see Fua loss, I'm going to mention it. Oh, good thing we have Ashen here, which is going to be used with the Super Poly to fuse with 2 Pyro Monsters. All right. You can have Centurion. Centurion with triple Fua loss. That is what I'm talking about. Vsauce with the Super Heavy Samurai Centurion. Looking good. Triple Fua loss. 40 cards. Clean. Very well done. Let's keep on going. Yubel. Yubel with double Fua loss. Meep Squared. All right. We got the Anti-Spell Fragrance Cheese with the Griffin and Beatrice to set it from the deck, then set it from the grave. Very nicely done. Let's keep on going. You have Buster, Blader, Dragon Link, Dragoonity, Dragon Link with triple Fool Loss. Let's actually, Honda Power, I'm just going to go to your page here to highlight it here. And there we go. So we can see it a bit better. All right. There you go. Now my head's blocking it. So good job to you on doing well with this. Very happy about that. Triple Fool Loss in. This was a fun time to watch you setting up the Destruction Sword Whelp, equipping it onto the Buster Blader. Every time I did see you do it, a phrase came to my mind. I could not help it. And the phrase is win more. It did seem a bit win more. You equipping the Whelp, it did. To me, I felt like you were still winning without it. But you tell me, were there games where you needed it? Did you win unwinnable games because of the Whelp turning off the extra deck? I would love to know that. So good job. And you went from Dragon Link to Buster Blader Dragon Link. That is nice to see. We have Tenpai Dragon, Nonstop DC, with how many Maxis? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Maxis. With Chundra being limited to 1, we now have more room for more Maxis. We did get top 8, that is great, and unfortunately, you were the only Tenpai Dragon with 9 Maxis that made it to the top cut. Is it going to require more tournaments and more time? Were a lot of people on the fence of wanting to possibly spend all their gems, money, or dismantle UR points to build the Pirellias? This would be me. If I were a Tenpai player on the fence, I would want to know, should I invest in 3 Pirellia when I'm pretty much only going to use it in Tenpai? I think if Pirellia were super rare, you'd already be seeing a lot more Tenpai players on the ladder or maybe in the tournament, not waiting to see if this would be good enough, because of course it would just be super rare and then be easily played. Good job, Nonstop DC. So with your top, is that enough to convince other Tenpai players to just go in, get the 9 Maxis? Spright, Chris, I feel like you top every single week with the same deck, bro. What's going on? Yep, it's like every week. Is it just the same deck also? What is going on? It's not even a Spright deck. It's a Chris deck. Chris topping again with Chris deck. Holy moly. Back to back to back to back. Good job, Chris. We did add a Fool Loss this time. 1 Fool Loss for our Crossout Designator. Does that even count as using Fool Loss if it's there just to negate with Crossout? Good job. And then there is the extra deck. Very well done. Let's now see. We have Ice Barrier. Jin. 40 card Ice Barrier with no Fool Loss. If you are a non-Fool Loss player in today's event, are you waiting? Did you not have money right away? Maybe something's happening over the weekend that you're going to then whip out your gems and money to get your Fool Losses, or you're just not a believer. Do you think it's Brick will loss, as someone else stated? Good job, Jin. Happy for you. And what really stood out for me was your use of Winds of the Ice Barrier to truly push this deck to have much better turn ones than what people are usually used to when playing with and against this deck. That was great. I think you definitely got to be playing this now after seeing how you played with it. What else we have? Gimmick Puppet. Karma. Top tier Karma. Played incredibly well today. Super impressed. Triple Fool Lawson it up. Nicely done. There was a top 10 rating player that did not play Max C. So I would think, I don't know, for fun purposes, I don't mean, what, that doesn't make sense. I'm going to just stop what I'm saying. It's getting late. Maybe just squeeze in Pirelli in here too, right? What can we do here? I don't know. Good job. Good job. And you did it with the horse cards. I almost said something really stupid. I was like, take out Maxi for Pirelli. Snake Eye Fire King. Level 100 Crobat. 43 cards. Where is the Fool Loss? We are not Fool Lawson. We are using Ghost Ogre. We're using DD Crow. Tenpai would really appreciate it if you were to not use DD Crow, because their Chundra being limited to 1 does not enjoy being banished. And then we have the extra deck. There are whispers within the community, or, you know, maybe one guy in the chat was saying, Triple Tactics talent's going to rise in value with the more people using Fool Loss, especially if they wait to Fool Loss in the main phase to ensure that they gain value from it, only using the Fool Loss in response to you summoning from the deck or the extra deck. It doesn't have the downside, the Fool Loss, where they could shotgun a Diablo Star and then you miss out on drawing. So that is a good reason to hold on to it. And if you're holding on to it, TTT stocks go up. What else we have here? Mobile X. We Fool Lossin' a little bit. We got our toes in the Fool Loss hype pot here. 2 Fool Loss, 41 cards. Good job, Mobile X. There's the main deck, and then there is the extra. Any other? Let's see what else we got here. And then Labyrinth. Camzy. Camzy is the deck I want to play. Holy moly. This is it. Triple Fool Loss, triple Max C. I think if you're a Labyrinth deck, not only do you play well against Fool Loss, but you use Fool Loss to eat the opponent's Ash so that they don't Ash your big welcome Labyrinth. Every rogue deck that loses to Ash just became better because of Fool Loss eating that Ash. That, I think, is an important thing to look at. And then here we go. There is the extra deck in addition to the main deck. Love the Elemental Burst plays with the transaction rollback. It was great. You were consistently setting this up. And then Kaz Vito. Kaz Vito with simultaneous equation cannon. Holy moly. Triple upstart with some runic cards. We got the equation cannons. Unfortunately, in the top cut, I was not able to see it get pulled off. But, you know, still, big kudos to you. Good job for playing this. This is a fun time. Despite you playing Floodgates, if Floodgates work, then use them. I'm not going to shame you for them. I know other people will, though. Let's keep on going. And then, the best performing deck, Branded. What was this because of Fool Loss? They did receive a new card. First place Abomod, and we're going to point out how many people are playing it. Within our 60 card deck, of course, we have room for 3 Max C and 3 Fool Loss. And so this is the main deck here. Anything too interesting or crazy? We still have room for Super Poly alongside the Mulcharmy Fool Loss. And then in the extra deck, this is it. The Light and Darkness Dragon Lord. This card is negating up to 3 times. It's potentially chain link blocking once it gets to 0 defense. Hopefully chain link blocking in a good way for you. Good job. Very well done. Let's keep on going to the next person. Stigmata. Not having room for the Fool Loss. There is the whole deck list here. And let's see the extra deck. Of course, we are on the Light and Darkness Dragon Lord. Light Dragon plus Dark Dragon both have to be level 8, not below or higher. And that works out. And then Earl GB. Is Earl also on Light and Darkness? 60 cards, double Fool Loss. We got the Dogmatica engine here. Lots of different ways to play this deck. Good job, Earl. And then, as I see here, all 3 playing Light and Darkness Dragon Lord. Is Branded about to become a tier 1 deck because of Light and Darkness Dragon Lord comboed up with the release of Fool Loss and how well the deck does against Fool Loss? This is interesting times. It's now time to pick back up Branded, at least from what I'm seeing from this event. Will it continue this streak? There is, I would say, this normally happened in the TCG for me, where a ban list would happen and then no one would know what deck is good. And that's essentially what happened here. A ban list just happened, plus the Fool Losses have been released. So people are kind of on the sidelines, hesitant to go in on a deck. And that's when the old faithful deck that is Branded is the deck that people fall back on to do well with in a meta of uncertainty. When things are uncertain, I think that's where a deck like Branded will thrive. But I could be wrong, and it could just be because Light and Darkness Dragon Lord really is that good. I think only time will tell to see if this is now the top dog deck until something better comes out. And with that said, that is the event. Good job to everyone involved, and let's check out Fool Loss in the decks here. Let's see if we meta weekly. Let's type in Fool Loss. Fool Loss. How many decks? In the top 16, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 out of the top 16 played Fool Loss. And let's see. We're going to do the star trick. How many played 3? So 10 out of the top 16 played Fualos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of the 10 played 3 Fualos. 3 out of the 10 played 2 Fualos. And 1 out of the 10 played 1 Fualos with crossout designator. Interesting stats. What about the Pirellia? Probably just the, I gotta spell this correctly. Oh my goodness, I can't even. Mulcharmi P. Mulcharmi Per. That should work, that should be enough. Let's see, Pirellia. Pirellia is just Tenpai. Just Tenpai and at 3 as expected. Do note, I never hyped up Pirellia to be used alongside other decks that were not Tenpai. I continually said, even though my title's saying 9 Maxi Poggers, I kept saying, Tenpai Dragon's the deck that will use it, the other players will not. You could see that noted multiple times. But still, good job. And there you go.